Yo, it's Prodigy 3N, and I'm back with another video. You know what the vibe is, you know what the saying is. It's two threes, not three threes. And today we're going to be talking about the top four OU mons in the tier. But first, before we get into the four OU mons in the tier, as you see in the thumbnail, you see we'll talk about an honorable mention, such as Dragapult. In my opinion, this is also my opinion of Pokemon, so don't get mad if you don't like what my opinion is saying about what are the top five or top four Pokemons in the tier. So, in my opinion, I feel like this list is always subjective. So, if you get frustrated about it, I understand, but you gotta also think about it from my point too, because I personally believe I'm a great OU player, Gen 9 OU player. So, but this is my opinion. So, overall, that's it. But to give you an honorable mention of a Pokemon that is, in my opinion, just out the cusp of the top four is Dragapult. You could say a lot of monster on that tier, right? There's D Knight could be up there. There's also like all these other dragons, Roaring Moon, you know, uh, she, who else, man? There's a lot of good monsters in this tier. Raging Bolt, like Iron Valiant. You can name those as their top four or top five monsters right there. But I feel like Dragapult just edges them out with its versatility, right? With Dragapult, you have uh, a way of using statuses. You have a mix set that just breaks most stalls. Plus, it can do a lot of damage, a lot of good damage against balance, right? Nobody wants to take a Wisp. Nobody wants to take a Hex when it's burned, right? D darts is good neutral damage to a majority of teams, and you turning out is just like beautiful. With heavy duty boosts, this mon almost feels like it's amazing. With the speed tier of what 421, 421 is the best. Probably the second fast. Actually, it's the second fastest, not because there's the oxygen speed in the tier, but with this mon in the tier, it just with this set specifically, it's amazing for specific matches, right? Since it's so fast, it can switch into Ogerpon once with on the Ivy Cudgel, take 50%. You turn out, you can bring in a mon that can take Ivy Cudgel, go back into Dragapult, and then kill the Ogerpon in 2 hits with the barring there's no critical hit on you. So Dragapult is a great. This set is one of my favorites, of course. It's a very popular set on the ladder. I think it's probably the most used set right now. Right, Specs used to be there, but then with the introduction of Roar Moon and all these threats, its Specs is kind of it's a bit of a hindrance. But we're talking about Specs later, so Specs Dragapult is overall Specs and Bandit are basically the same bullshit. But I overall think Specs is better than Bandit because when you run Bandit, you have to your primary move that you're gonna be clicking is D-Darts and U-turn, right? U-turn to get out of that situation, Dragon Darts to hit a lot of damage on something. But with that said, if you fight a Steel type or like or even like what's like a Kingambit, it feels like this mon is kind of useless. A Steel type or what else? Heatran, this mon cannot really do anything without Terry and Ghost. Wait, why is Terra Blast and Phantom Force on this? Okay, this should not be Terra Blast. This should be Phantom Force. Usually they don't run Phantom Force, but you can run Phantom Force. But it's usually Terra Ghost, Sucker Punch or something for priority. But like you can run Phantom Force, but it's 2 turns, and you can honestly just switch in your Tingle or something. So overall, I prefer Specs over Bandit because you get the immediate damage from the start. You don't have to. Your moves are not. You don't have to Terra to get stabbed on one attack, which right. So you have Draco, Shadow Ball, Flamethrower for coverage on Steel types, Corviknight. Doing like 50% to Corviknight's amazing, and then you turn to get out, right? So overall, I've used Spec Dragapult a lot. So what the fuck, bro? Why am I getting ads? Oh my god. Let me mute this for a sec. How many ads does this person have? Okay, but yeah. The Spec Dragapult overall, it's definitely, I think, is on the resurgence. The only thing is you gotta be careful against Roaring Moons. Because Spec Dragapult is honestly a great way of doing so much damage to Zamazenta. Draco Meteor, if you put this Terra Dragon, which I've been using, Draco Meteor one shots Zamazenta, which is amazing. Which is what you need in this tier, right? If you can one shot Zamazenta, you can basically win against anything. They break most mons. The only problem is Glow King, but you can always build around that, right? So next we'll talk about it is more of a passive Dragapult. I've seen sub wisps, but overall this is just a stat I just made up randomly. I've seen D-Dance Dragapults sometimes. Sometimes they run sub. It'd be like sub D-Dance darts. Oh, why is it two dances? D darts, right? Maybe even sub here. You can figure out what you want, but overall, like Dragapult is just a versatile one. Also, Clear Body to stop webs from going up, and like it does. This doesn't reduce your webs. Like, this is a perfect monitor against webs. Like heavy duty boots, of course, too. When I run heavy duty boots, I run infiltrator because infiltrator is such a great ability too. The thing is with this mon is why it's so good is the speed tier. It has great attack stats. Has a decent special attacking stats. You can. That's why the mix set is amazing, right? It's really fast. It beats most of the mons in the tiers that we have, and it's a great revenge killer. And overall, it's not a top four, but it is a mon that you should have your teams built around. But we'll talk about the fourth best mon in the tier, in my opinion, which is Ogerpon-Wellspring. Some people may think that it's a little too low. Some people might think it would be like top three. But I feel like this is the perfect tier for the perfect placement for this Pokemon because with the other three Mons ahead of it, I feel like those Mons are just way better. Not way better, actually. What am I saying? They're better because they have versatile stats and they just have the easiest win cons, right? But this Mon, don't get me wrong, this Mon is one of the best Mons of the tier. Of course, for top four, you have to be there. Uh, some people might think that Darkrai should be up here, but Darkrai is super linear. The thing is, Ogerpon, it is also very linear, but it has a defensive capabilities and it has the offensive abilities as to keep together, which is amazing, right? Darkrai, you can tear poison. There's your offensive capabilities are maxed up basically. You're of course you're gonna be your resistances will be like your super effective attacks that you were facing before, such as fighting and fairy, are now weak against you. So that's amazing, also a fact. But Ogerpon, the fact that it gets a special defense boost, plus you become a natural water type, and you get a stab on Ivy Cudgel, and your Ivy Cudgel goes up for. I'm pretty sure it goes up. I'm pretty sure. I don't know, but that shit becomes broken. This one is really fucking good, just for those stats. And the stats itself, right? The stats are not anything like eye dropping, but the 110 speed is what makes this mon like upper echelon. If it was any slower, if it was like 101, this mon might be like it would be a good mon. Don't get me wrong, but it's just not what it is because of the 110 speed, you get to be out fast. You get to be faster than most mons in the tier, barring that they have less than 110 speed. But if you run a 110 speed mon such as Latios, Ogerpon, you know. Um, there's other mons. I'm trying to think what's 110 speed. I'm trying to think. I think that's it. Definitely is more, but I can't name it from my top of my head. Iron Moth, like the speed tier. You get a speed tie with this Pokemon, and in general, those Ogerpon does amazing against those Pokemon. You just tear. You tear. Even though you force your terror, you sword stance up. You're not taking anything from any of those mons except for Iron Moth. You might have to terror just to kill it. So it is what it is. This is a situation you gotta think about with Pokemon. It's such a great mon. Plus, it beats Stall. This mon is amazing. Check the skull. Okay, enough of yapping about it, but we'll talk about these sets individually, and then I can give you an idea of what's so good about these sets. So we'll talk about this set. The first set that is, I think, is the most popular set out there, which is a Swords Dance Ivy Conjure Power Player. This mon is just used to break Pokemons, so this would be a great Pokemon to fight like a balanced team, or even stall. You have Ivy Cudgel, of course. You know what Ivy Cudgel is. You need Ivy Cudgel on Pokemon. Power Whip is interchangeable. I personally don't use Power Whip. I think Power Whip is really bad. Even though you get the 120 damage, right? You have 85 accuracy. 85 accuracy is not great. I rather get guaranteed damage. So overall, I don't really like Power Whip, but I understand the entire reason why people run Power Whip and play rough for the dragons because one of the only checks to Ogerpon in this tiers are dragon types. So if you Swords Dance or even go for a hard player on the switch to the dragon type, the Smon will basically have no checks in the game. If you catch a dragon type on the switch, it's over. The opponent's team will suffer because Ogerpon's Ivy Cudgel play rough, Power Whip, it's just gonna do too much damage to your opponent's team. It's so this mon is just it's not broken. It's just like the most perfect mon in my opinion. I really love Ogerpon. It's like one of my favorite. I think it's my most used mon I've used on every team. Like if I search up Ogerpon, this shit will be on too many teams of mine. Like look at this, 104. Like this is 104 like terms of Ogerpon that I have in this team builder. Like look how many teams I've had with Ogerpon because it's so good. Like I think it's an essential mon to bring into the tier, like into your team building because it beats stall, it beats balance. It does really not really bad, but it has a bad magic in its HL. But it can't be great at everything, you know. If it was that case, then it would be broken. But you know, this is why this mon is like perfect. This set is overall good for coverage if you want to attack everything. We'll talk about the next set, which is my favorite set. This is the set you guys see me wrong all the time. Sorry. Sorry about that. I just caught. Oh my god. What the fuck, bro? This guy has too many ads in this shit, bro. Give me a second. I'm gonna search up. Oh man, just give me a second. I'll be right. Okay, I'm hoping there's no ads on this one. Okay, it might be a little louder. I hope you guys can still hear me though. But basically the point is this set is amazing. The reason why this set is amazing is you have Horn Leech and Knockoff over Player F and Power Whip. So the reason why I feel like I don't know. I feel like I might have innovated Horn Leech. It's just me saying this because Horn Leech, in my opinion, is just better than Power Whip. Of course, you get that 120 damage, right? But you know, Horn Leech you get 75 damages, which is not bad. Plus, it's your stab, so overall it gets like to probably like 90 or 100. Plus, you get recovery. Recovery is amazing. When you have Ogerpon, in my opinion, you want to have it for a long time. You can't just be using it to just break things. But if you have Horn Leech, this spawn doesn't die. It just doesn't really die. You always have your Swords Dance up, you Horn Leech up, you get back to like someone like say if Dragapult comes in, you know, you Horn Leech and Swords Dance up, the shit will do like 60 to Dragapult, heal back up, kill it possibly, and you know you're good. Now your Ogerpon's still healthy. This mon is such a great this set is so amazing in my opinion. Plus knockoff, the reason I run knockoff in this is because of Dragapults and Sinistros. You know, this of course this Ogerpon is walled by Hydrapples, but Hydrapple's not even a common mon in the metagame anymore because Kyurem's back, right? If Kyurem wasn't back, then I might actually run Play Rough, but overall I feel like Knockoff is a better fourth moveset because you hit a lot of ghost types, even you know like Pokemon that wall you, such as Dragapult and Sinistcha not wall you but counter you. Like Sinistcha, like you know what these hazard stack schemes they don't really scout for the knockoff. So what you do is say if I have this Sinistcha team, you know you're fighting against you go into Ogerpon, you set up Swords Dance once, they go into the Sinistcha, expecting to not take any damage from any moves you go for, and you knock off, and their entire game plan of walling you with the Sinistcha is rapid spinning blocking you is over. Because once the Sinistcha is gone, you can rapid spin away, right? So this is what my plan was, you know? Ogerpon knockoff is just amazing. You can catch a Dragon Ball switching in hard, you can instantly kill it. The thing with Play Rough actually is a roll. Because Play Rough is 90 damage, it's not, you know, it's not like 125, because that's what it is, 125, right? I think it's 125. The knockoff is stronger, so overall, you actually kill Dragon Ball. Play Rough is more of a roll. It's like a 90% chance. No, it's like a 50% chance you'll kill. With knockoff, it's like an 80% chance you kill, which is overall better odds. So overall, I think this stat is the best overall. Oh, I forgot to even put the Encore stats. Oh well, yeah, you know and also there's Encore. Like Encore is just an amazing move to have because if you know like once you predict your opponents to set up or use a spikes or anything, you can set up with Ogerpon and getting a free turn with Ogerpon is just amazing, right? You can Swords Dance, you can Terra, and then that one is just like killable with Horn Leech. Oh man, bro, good luck, good luck. It's gonna be hard to kill this mon. But yeah, I forgot to put Encore, but I think the other sets are more important. I've seen let's talk about the next set, which is I've seen a 4 attack set once. 4 attack sets, honestly, they usually run adamant to get the most damage, right? Honestly, it's not my cup of tea, but if you have a balance and you want something to break, use a breaker, this mon is perfect for it, right? This mon just breaks everything. Adamant, like what, 372? Imagine getting hit with Terra Water, Ivy Cudgel, this shit's doing too much. Power Whip, Knockoff, Play Rough, bro, nothing's really taking it. This is the same speed tier as Kyurem, I'm pretty sure. Or no, it's actually faster. Kyurem's 317, So this is as fast as Iron Crown, so it's not actually too slow overall, right? So this is a great, like, if you really want a good breaker, this is a good mon too, because it's literally as fast as Iron Crown, so it's not too slow, right? And then you have the knockoff coverage, Power Whip, Ivy coverage, and Play Rough. These sets are amazing. You guys should go into this if you really want a breaker on your team. You know, overall Ogerpon is just amazing in that sense. Next we'll talk about the same, a little different, more of a set. It should be adamant. I think it was Mimikyu Stardust talking about this. He said that basically spikes plus adamant nature plus U-turn and Horn Leech on Ogerpon might be one of the best. Like, is under super underrated. I understand though, because think about it. If you set up spikes once and then you U-turn out with Ogerpon, you're just getting that residual damage for your team. Plus, Ogerpon is not, as I said, it isn't an easy Pokemon to switch into, especially with that Ivy Cudgel critical hit ratio. Plus, you know, like Terra is just with U-turn, spikes, Ivy Cudgel, Horn Leech. This mon is just like it's a great hazard center for you. It's like almost like it gets a lot of momentum for you. That's the word. And overall, if you want to use a Pokemon that's like a better version of Hisuian Samurott that hits you better, this is a great way. Of course, Hisuian Samurott gets up the spikes immediately, but this will cause your opponent's team more momentum and damage because of how strong it is too, right? So overall, what a great set too. I honestly tried, like, you could use it. Personally, I'm more used the Stories End sets, but you know, if I really want to fit this in, it would be a great mod to fit in. And then the last that I've seen on the ladder, which is the Ivy Cudgel Player Off Swords and Trailblaze set. I don't know if it's adamant nature, but honestly, if you want to run adamant, be greedy about it, it honestly makes sense because what, 319? What is that? That's like 400. You're definitely going to be faster than Deoxys, maybe. But you know, overall, like, this set is honestly, it's if you let the monster set up on you, right? Trailblaze up, you could become, what's that? 319 times what? Uh, is it 1.3? I think it's 1.3. I don't remember the speed tiers. Is it 1.5? I'm pretty sure it's 1.5, right? Let's watch the game and see if someone's boosted up. Okay, well, that's not gonna help. I'm pretty sure it's 1.3, but this mon becomes super fast. You have player for coverage on the dragon. Swords Dance up. Usually, what you want to do is Swords Dance, Trails Blaze, and then play rough. And the Ivy Cudgel's there. Right? The thing is, what this set is, kind of lacks any grass coverage. So if you have to fight, let's see, what Pokemon would you have problems with? Maybe counter your own. No, say if you're fighting another Pokemon, yeah, actually, like a mirror match with Ogerpon, you won't. I don't know if you'll kill it. You won't kill it with a Swords Dance, maybe. Swords Dance, Trailblaze, it's not animate. I think it will do like 80%. So that's the sucky part about it. But overall, it just destroys other mons. So Ogerpon is, in my opinion, the fourth best mons for these reasons. It has a great matchup in the stall. It breaks bounce. It's probably the best bounce breaker in the tier. One of the best stall breakers in the tier too. Overall, great knockoff user. Has amazing coverage. You know, has U-turn, has spikes, has a lot of utility. So Swords Dance, you know, Encore, like, this mon is probably the best offensive weapon in the tier, in my opinion. With the utility options it has, the U-turn, like the damage, you know, the critical hit ratio, this mon might be the best offensive threat out there. So we'll talk about the next three, right? This is the top four. So imagine the top three, and we'll get into the next one, which is Zamazenta. You know, people used to think that Zamazenta is broken, but overall, I think it's an essential mon to this tier. You take out Zamazenta, Kingambit gets broken. You take out Zamazenta, Darkrai might become broken. You know, all these dark types that have no revenge killers. That's the thing with this tier. Like, right now, you can look at it right now. Look how many dark types there are that are just, if you don't have Zamazenta to punish them, they can just become out like a little bit frustrating to deal with. Look, like Zamazenta helps. Like, Roaring Moon might actually become too broken. Like Kingambit, you know, Darkrai. I wouldn't say Meowscarada is gonna become broken. Samurai would be punished. I don't know. There's a lot of things to punish Samurai, but these three, without Darkrai in the tier, the tier might actually just become a mess of dark types. Like, because these tiers, like the tiers in general, is run by a lot of dark types. So that's why people are running like dark spam with Petron, because Zamazenta is such a threat into his to dark spam. So they start running Petron, and that's what is the new innovation of that. So, and this is the presence of Zamazenta in general, right? But we all know the normal Zamazenta sets, so we'll just go over them, right? Because there's basically three of the same sets overall, but it's changed the last move, right? Let's talk about it. But these are the best ones in my opinion. The EVs can be adjusted. I actually have better adjusted EVs for this one. I think it's this one. So let's adjust it. 152. What is it? If you guys, wait, what is it? What is it? No, it's not this one. 152 defense, then one, and the rest in HP. Overall, this is just better. Because you get more solidified defensive utility, right? Over the HP. And I think that's way better in my opinion because if you fight a Kingambit or a Great Tusk, you know you want to have that, or even a D-Knight, you want to have that safety net, you know? But, wait, is this even the right set? No, I think it's alright. It should be fine. Let me just check to be sure because I don't want to give you the wrong EVs, right? Let's see. Yeah, it would be this set. No, this is the fast one. This is the innovative one I made. It's not this one. It would be this one. What is this one? 236. Okay, so it's 236, 104. 236, 104. 236 is the defense, okay. That's the thing. You can, with Zamazenta, you need to run a lot of special. If you're gonna do this, let's see, 236. Okay, there. Let me just copy and paste this one. Actually, no, let's just do 236. So the reason why we run 236 in general is because you want Zamazenta to be the most bulky mon on your team, right? This one, I think I'd keep the EVs on this one. And then, yeah, so yeah, okay, we'll talk about it now. So for this mon, Zamazenta, it is essential mon as a tier, as I said, counters a lot of dark types, you know, beats a lot of physical Pokemon, such as contact Pokemon such as Dragonite, Great Tusk. You know, this mon just has, since it's a cover legendary, the stats are amazing, right? The only thing that sucks about the Pokemon is the moveset. That's the reason why it's in the OU tier, right? The OU tier, this mon has kind of dog shit stats. I mean, dog shit coverage. So that's the only reason why. Like, look at this. Look at these. Like, it doesn't really have anything great. Trailblaze, you're not gonna use Trailblaze. Wild Charge is kind of dog shit. Recoil, Psychic Fangs, Moon. Like, I thought of Moonblast opposite, which was crazy, right? So, but anyways, enough of that bullshit. Remember, the only reason why I use Roar on Zamazenta is to phase out anything that's standing up on you. So, such as Great Tusk, Kingambit, Dragonite, Raging Bull, all these bonds, you know, you set up, and they try to set up with you, and you roar them out. And then after that, they just lose to Zamazenta. But usually, at this point, your Zamazenta would win. Terra Fires on this Zamazenta just to counter anything that wants to hit you super effectively, such as Iron Violence, Moonblast. Also, Wisp on Dragapult is a huge thing. The reason why it's Terra Fire. Moltres, you know, Wisp, you know, everything. Terra Fire is amazing on this mon. It's one of the best sets in there, and it's usually Roar for the mirror match, because what they usually do is if the opponent's Zamazenta is not running Roar, you set up on them and they set up on you. You get max defense, you roll them out, and they immediately lose because now they lost the Iron Defense battle, and now they're just gonna about to get swept by Body Press, right? We'll talk about the next set, which is essentially all these sets. These three sets are the same, but just different items. So I use runs leftovers on Roar. You also run leftovers on the subset. Subset is kind of, I don't know if it's still that good, but if the opponent does not have anything to phase you out, it becomes broken, right? They have, say they don't have a default, they don't have any sub like a Whirlwind or a Roar run. This mon becomes essentially is the same thing, but you just can't kill it. You have a sub up, you get 10,000 iron defenses up. Body Press is doing 10 billion to your entire opponent's team, right? Your Terra Steel is there for Slow Kings, right? Anything that wants to hit you like for a decent amount of damage, Iron Valiant, even Petra, right? This mon with Terra Steel is just, ooh, it's pretty scary. You gotta be careful of this mon. But if you Terra, also there's a chance that you lose to opposing Zamazentas, so you gotta be careful of that. You also gotta be careful of that. You also lose your Fighting Stab You also lose your yeah, you lose your fighting weaknesses. I mean, positives. So Kingambit can possibly sweep you, depending on the Kingambit Terra too. So you got to be careful about this set. I feel like personally the best sets are Roar, and the next set, which I'll talk about, which is now we'll talk about it, which is Chesto, Resto, Zamazenta. You know, this set has been innovated by me. You can, in my opinion, if you're running Chesto Resto, you need to run max speed, so that you can be faster than most things on your tier. The tier. You can run slower, like 389. Most people don't run Zom Center, right? But I run max speed so I can be faster than most things in the tiers, other than barring Dragapult and Deoxys, right? You usually people run Terra Dark. I like Terra Fire because I feel like Terra Fire is more consistent against the checks that Zamazenta has. You know, say you what usually what I do again with Zamazenta in these situations is I bring him in like on all these checks. I do as much damage as I can with him. Say I'm soaking, I get him down to like 10%, and then my Zamazenta will be like at a quarter. They bring in the one thing that they think they can check me with. I rest back up, I iron defense, and I sweep them from there. Bro, this mon with Chesto Resto is almost like unkillable. Literally almost unkillable. The only thing that you have to be careful is fighting opposing War Zamazentas. Like that's the thing. War Zamazenta counter most of these iron defense stuff. So you gotta be careful if you're fighting an opposing Zama, right? Also, this mon also loses Terra Ghost. Terra Ghost, Kingambit, also Terra Ghost, Great Tusk. So it's very, you gotta see, Zamazenta is broken, but there's also too many broken mons in the tier. So overall, Zamazenta, it therefore balances out. So that's with Terra, right? If Terra wasn't here, would this mon be broken? Oh fuck, I don't want to hear this ad, bro. What is wrong with these fucking ads, man? But yeah, no, I'll let the ad play out and then we'll continue. But yeah, no, that's the thing. With Zamazenta, it's broken, but there's so many mods that check it overall that and even Terra in general plays a big factor in this mod being the tier that we have to have it, right? So yeah. Chest Arresto, my favorite set out there. Out there is between the Iron Defense Leftovers Roar set and then there's the Chest Arresto set with Terrifier. Next we'll talk about is the Heavy Duty Boost set. This is being run because if you're using heavy duty boot spam, you know this spawn overall is a great thing to have because of the coverage it has. Some people run Terra Dark, some people run Terra Stellar. It's up to you. Maybe Terra Stellar might be better so you can get more damage off on bonus. But this mon is great. Overall, great mon to have heavy boosts as well. Also, one of my favorite sets is the Life Orb set, which is a great set I've used. It does a lot of damage to opponent Pokemon. You run close combat for sure, Stone Edge and Crunch. Those are the best. You need to run those three. And you can the last move can be interchanged between Ice Fang or Heavy Slam. I prefer honestly, if Zamazenta could have a fifth move, I would love to have Heavy Slam. But the thing is, you cannot run Ice Fang unless because you need to run in if you run into a Gliscor because this Ice Fang is only used for Gliscor and Lando, right? Like it just becomes this mon kind of just does nothing against Gliscor. So Ice Fang is a great way of doing that against fairy types. You either run you have to switch out usually. Either Ice Fang or Heavy Slam. It's up to you guys. If you have a team against Gliscor, then you can run Heavy Slam. If your team is weak to Gliscor, you need to run Ice Fang. And you know that is the basic coverage you need to run for Zamazenta. Being what the bar is the third best mon in the tier? Yeah, I think so. Overall, this mon doesn't really have that many sets out there. It's just so broken because of how what the base stats is. You know, the iron defense test, right? And then, you know, this basically the base stats of it is. This mon checks a lot of mons and we need it this here. So that's the third best mon in my opinion. We'll talk about the second, which is very controversial, but I think Kyurem is the second best mon in the tier. You know, there's so much set diversity this mon has. It's just like one of those. Like the thing is, the reason why it's second best is because it's set diversity, right? You look at Kyurem, you have one of the best offensive typings with Ice and Dragon. Dragon, I don't know if it really helps you out in that sense, but having the Draco Meteors and all these, the Dragon Stab and just being a Dragon type is amazing with Ice, you know? And you also do resist, you're not weak to Ice types anymore, you're neutral, so that's great in that sense, right? So, it is what it is for that sense. But Kyurem's entire reason why it's so broken, are not so broken, but the reason why it is really fucking good is because of the base stats. Like, if you compare it to Zamazenta, of course Zamazenta has better stats, but this mon in general has 125 base HP, 130 attack, 90 attack defense, which pairs with 125 HP. It feels almost you can't really kill it in one hit. You know, you have to have something that really does do damage to it, such as like even I'm pretty sure it survives Iron Valley and Moonblast from like full. You know, 130 special attack, Spadef. Like, look at the defenses; they're really good. Only if it was on a good defensive typer, like a better defensive typing, with ice. If it wasn't ice, then this mom might be banned from the tier overall. But you know, Spadef's amazing, and then speed tier is kind of lackluster. But you know, this is the only way to balance this mon, even though it's also a box legendary too. These mons are failures in the Uber tiers, but they are the kings of the OU tiers. So of course they had to be. If they're not, then it'd be kind of sad. So yeah, enough of the enough of the chatting shit. Let's see why this mon is broken. Not broken. It's the best in the tier, in my opinion. We'll start off with choice specs. I've run a lot of choice specs Kyurem before. You know, I had this team. Since we're talking about choice specs Kyurem, let's talk about the Gunk Cinderace team. Yeah, here it is. This team overall amazing. I used this team. I used to run this team in OLT around that time. Overall, with Cinderace, you have there for the hazard control for Kyurem, and then you have Ogerpon to pair with these three, and it feels like the Kyurem there with choice specs. It's almost like it's too powerful. But the U-turn coverage plus all these utility monsters that help Kyurem break down Pokemon, it becomes pretty strong. But overall, as the metagame developed, I feel like personally the spec set has kind of fallen off. It's of course does a lot of damage. Don't get me wrong, but I think the better sets are later down the line. So we'll talk about that now, I guess. Terra Ice usually run on specs because you want the most damage. Some people like to run Blizzard because they pair with Galarian Slowking, but it's all preference at the end of the day. I run Ice Beam because I don't like I don't want to depend on chilly reception being up like the snow, because once the snow's gone, then my second best stab move is Freeze Dry, and I'm not trying to use a Blizzard on Raw like without the snow being there. It's like using Magma Storm. That shit's too scary, right? So I always want consistency, so that's why I run Ice Beam on my if I ever run specs again here. Next, we'll talk about the D-Dance set. This set is in contention to being the best set out there, in my opinion. Um, this set is, of course, broken. I think this set is not the most broken, but it could be one of the best sets, if not the best set of the Kyurem, because of how amazing this Pokemon is. With Terra, this bond becomes almost unkillable. If you get the right Terra types on the opponent's team, so say you're fighting in this situation, right, where they have a Moltres in, and you can revenge kill it with but Kyurem. You bring in your Kyurem, you Terra on the Moltres' Will-O-Wisp or Flamethrower. You set up once, you set up again, and then the game's over usually. Because Kyurem cannot be revenge killed at this point. Plus 2 Kyurem, you literally can run through your team. Terra, Terra Fire destroys Goldengo, anything else, right? The only way to even do damage is you have to get priority on this move. You have to run priority to run against it, kill it. So even Kingambit maybe Terra Fire Kingambit, Terra Dark Kingambit might be the best way to do it with it. But even then, like, there's one, if you let it even get one, like, D-Dance up, it becomes a problem. The only way to counter it is if you run a booster energy mod, such as Valiant or even Zamazenta. Zamazenta is the best check to this overall. But also, it has a really bad matchup into stall. That's the thing with these setup mons. You need to have, if you run into stall, this mon is not going to do much. Unless you have a way of killing Dondozo, then, it's not going to do anything. Sadly. Maybe if you run Terra Electric. I've seen Terra Electric actually being around. That's actually interesting because Dondozo. Okay, let's see. You'll see for science. Terra Electric Dondo, on Kyurem, the same set. Let's see. Kyurem. This is for science, Is it this one? This one. I don't know why I was running National Dex sets. This should be Jolly. Nobody runs. Terra Blast Electric. I think they, for the damage calc, I think it says banned or some shit. Dondozo. OU all. Let's make it. Yeah, it's max defense. Okay. So let's see with Terror Blast, bro. That is actually insane. So what happens is you either if you're fighting against stall, you do 30%. So it's actually really good against this Dozo because you can force the Terror and then hopefully a mon on your team can counter and win with it. So maybe Terror Electric might be better. It's a between the best Terrors are Electric and Fire, even ground too. So, but I think Electric might even be better because it actually has a possibility of beating Stall. The reason why this set actually has a problem with Stall is because of Dondozo. Dondozo is the biggest threat to Stall. I mean to this Kyurem set. But if you run Terra Electric, then it might actually beat Stall. Well, you force the Dondozo to Terra, and then you hope that you have a Pokemon in the back that beats the Terra Dondozo. Overall, Loaded Dice Kyurem, one of the best D-Dancers in the tier right now. If not the best one, let's say, right? But we'll talk about the next set, which is Heavy Duty Boots. This set, of course, I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of dog shit. You can't run Kyurem and run Heavy Duty Boots because unless you're running Heavy Duty Boots spam, but overall, I don't think this is a great set in general. The thing with Kyurem is you need to use a strength such as this damage output, and if you don't use damage output and you sacrifice it for just this longevity with heavy duty boots, it kind of just feels like it doesn't do too much. Like overall, the ice beams, the Draco meteors, they don't do shit. They actually don't do shit. You need to you need to be able to run these type of stats where you can run heavy duty boots, but overall it's not the best output wise. In my opinion, Kyurem's best strengths and best way to use Kyurem is to use a strength such as not use the heavy boots, use it for its offensive potential, not for its longevity. It's like a glass cannon, but this mon is amazing when it runs like this. But heavy boots, overall, not the best, but you can run it. I also forgot to mention, Choice Scarf is also an option instead of running Choice Specs. Choice Scarf is a great way of revenging or even surprising your opponent into like a Dragapult, right? Because it's always a great mon, Choice Scarf, so it's up to you guys what you want to run. But yeah, Heavy Duty Boots is probably the worst one in my opinion of Kyurem sets. This is the innovation that Empo made. This is where I started off loving Kyurem. I used to start running on my old T sets. I used to run D-Dance. This specific set actually, I would put a name nature for the reason that this is an amazing stall breaker, right? This is literally just almost 6-0 stall. If they don't have a guard, if they have a guard, then it's 6-0 stall, right? You D-Dance up on the glass score because they never go for they never not protect your Sona unless they Terra, right? You D-Dance, they protect. What you can do, you can switch if you're scanning for toxic, or you can go all in, freeze dry. Either you catch a Dondozo switching because they're not going to expect you to be mixed. You catch it, you do 50% of Dondozo, or 60 I think, and then you can kill the Dondozo, and from there Kyurem just sweeps. Like you guys seen me use this set specifically a lot, but let's see if I can pull any like free plays with this set. I don't think I can, but overall, this is one of my favorite tiers, like one of my favorite sets for Kyurem. The only problem is with this set is the over reliance on icicle spear hits. Since it's not loaded dice, you're gonna be really relying on getting 3 hits most times. Because if you don't, then this mon kind of feels like shit because there'll be times where you get 2 hits, right? And you're like, fuck, this is dog shit. Sometimes you get 5 hits, which feels like your spawn's on steroids. So you need to, if you want to be able to have that balance, you might have to force your Terra on Kyurem to do as much damage as possible. So usually you D-Dance always, and then you have these coverages to beat everything. So overall, one of the best Kyurem sets, as I said. It's up there with the D-Dance set, like the original D-Dance set, but yeah. We'll talk about the best one in my opinion, which is a scale shot with 4 attack sets. Right, with loaded dice, this is basically the same EVs as the same set as this one, but with the change of Dragon Dance instead with the scale shot. The reason why you run scale shot over D-Dance is because, in the sense where you're fighting is up, usually when you run Kyurem, with loaded dice, the checks that they have against you are basically very minute. So say you see what happens usually when your opponent sees a Kyurem, they try to scout what the stat is. So that what they would usually do is send in the best defensive mon to counter it. So usually it's a Slow King, sometimes Corviknight, but Slow King's the best chance that they'll send in. What you usually do is you go for a Scale Shot. That should take does 50% to Gold King, and at that point you can kill it. You force the Gold King to switch, or they die. They stay in trying to preserve it. But this mon has the amazing coverage to even do everything to it. So like, just look at this set. Like overall, it just breaks it. Like like, we talked about that. Remember that one stall game aim? I destroyed that one stall guy with this Kyurem. Let's see if I can find it. It's been a minute. It was Nihawk stream too, or Nihawk or something. I don't know what his name is. Oh shit! Let's see. Um, you know what though? Like, I don't think I can show you that replay. Overall, like, this is the best. Also, this destroy stall, beats balance is a great mon to balance. HO, you can also. Oh, you know what you could do also against. I forgot to mention this. Loaded dice. If you have an loaded dice, even on Dragon Dance, it has a chance of killing Rabombi from the start. So if you're fighting a Webs team, um, this is a great lead, honestly, against Rabombi because they're forced to either Moonblast you or get up webs or paralyze you. So if you force them to choose one of the options, they choose the wrong option, which is you need to always go for webs against Kyurem if they lead off with them, right? If they choose wrong, there's a chance that Kyurem kills you with Icicle Spear. It's a 40% chance. So overall, it's a great lead, a great mon too. So I hope you guys understand my points. We talked about the stats is amazing. This mon doesn't really die in one hit, so the only thing that hinders his back is his natural typing. If the mon was not a nice type, no, if the mon didn't have any weakness to stealth rocks, it would actually be too broken for the U tier. And then lastly, we can talk about the most egregious set to fight, which is Sub Protect Future EP Leftovers. I don't think I need to go into explanation for this. This entire set is to stall your PP and freeze you to death and drop your special defense. Overall, it's very pussy, but it's a great mon, of course. It feels a little too broken in that set. And we're gonna talk about this stuff first. I guess number one in the OU tier, which is Kingambit. Kingambit, this mon. Do we really need an introduction for this mon? There's a lot of tears. The thing is with this mon, it's so good. Even though if you know the set, you know what it's gonna do 95% of the time. It's always Swords Dancing. It's always Swords Dancing. But you gotta. The thing about the Kingambit is the Terra type, which you don't need to know. If you don't know the Terra type, most people don't know the Terra type, so automatically it just becomes way harder, right? But Terra is what the reason why Kingambit is so broken. Alright? There's leftovers you run on Kingambit. There's so many items you do run on Kingambit. Usually the fourth move slot is the one you change, which is usually Iron Head, Terror Blast, Low Kick, you know? I think that's it. Usually you do run it. You always run Swords and Sucker. You need those two and you need Kowtow always. So nothing really changes about this one. It's just the Terror type. And maybe the EVs, right? Some people run bulky Kingambits, but I think you need to run the fast Kingambit in this meta because if you run against an opposing Kingambit, which happens a lot of the time, you will lose the 1v1 unless they are bulky. Also, the Kingambits are fast as fuck, so you need to be that fast. So, yeah. And overall, most mons run 200 speed just to outspeed Kingambit. That's how important this mon is. You need to, if you're faster than Kingambit naturally, you need to run it. So, that's how important it is. It is literally meta defining this Pokemon. But instead of yapping about how important this mon is and how strong it is, we'll talk about each set right now. Speaking about this Kingambit set is Terra Ghost. Terra Ghost is there for Zamazenta. Strictly for Zamazenta, any fighting types in the tier, such as Great Tusk with close combat, Iron Valiant with close combat, usually it's there for those mons. It doesn't. No, that's the main reason. The only thing with this Ghost set is it of course loses to opposing Kingambits, but the main reason why you run Terra Ghost on Kingambit is specifically for Zamazenta. This thing beats Zamazenta 1v1. It really does, actually. The only way it doesn't is if the Zamazenta. Basically, you have to match the the turns of what the eye defense going up, you have the Sword Dance. You both have to get a +4. Zamazenta's not doing shit to you. Like realistically, with the crunch leftovers, crunch is doing like 30% to you, and leftovers you're basically taking 16 damage, and then you're doing at least 20% back. You know, overall Zamazenta is gonna lose that exchange. I think that's what happens. Usually you run you always run Kingambit at the end of the game, so +5 with Sword Dance up, +4. You know, this mod is literally too broken. Terra Fairy, this set is also, I think this is the best set offensively, but of course this is the stall, honestly. But you know, if you're scared of Zamazentas, this is an amazing set. You know, this beats Zamazenta hard. There's no way Zamazenta beats you, actually. Um, beats all the dragons in the tier, beats all the check sinking events actually. This mon it has kowtow for any mon in the tier. You have Sucker because Sucker is amazing. Like this set is almost unkillable if anything. You know, you need to run this set. You guys should run. I know everybody has run a Kingambit once, but Terra Blast Fairy with max speed, you know, it's almost unkillable. You got to be careful for opposing Kingambits because then at that point, if you Terra Fairy, you might just lose against Iron Head. So be careful about that. But overall, this Mon Fairy Terra Fairy, do I even need to explain it? It really does just destroy the tier. Like it really does. Like there's not that many checks out there. Um, let's talk about Terra Fighting. Terra Fighting is run out there to beat any bulky mons, also to mirror against its own Kingambits. I'm pretty sure Zama loses to this too. Let's check actually. Kingambit, Swords Dance. Let's see, low kick. Let's see. Get rid of this low kick. This is for science, you know. Let's make it. How many? 5, right? 5 following guys. What else? +4, no, +6. We'll see the optimum route against Zamazenta. Terra Fighting? Where is Terra Fighting? For normal grass, fire, blah, 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 right here. Okay. This is against Dondozo. Low kick, Terra, see. Bro, look at that damage. Bro, look at that. Isn't that insane? This is against a Dondozo. It does 40%. So I guess it does beat stall. You just gotta have zombie. Bro, this thing is too broken. Let's see Zamazenta. Iron Press. Like this shit. +6. Bro, this mon is. Damn, this mon is great, man. This mon is so good. If you play the right sets against Zamazenta, you can beat it 1-on-1, you know? Overall, do I really need to speak about that? Like, look how much it does. Low kick is definitely up there. You know, you could also run Lum. I've seen Lum, people running Lum on their Kingambits, but I didn't really include it. But you know, I feel like this set. Look how much it does with Zamazenta. No, Dondozo is insane. You actually beat stall. It's insane. So maybe you should run. Maybe people should run Terra Fighting overall. But yeah, you do lose to Iron Valiant 101. Who else? Yeah, I think it's just Iron Valiant. Any fairy types? Yeah, fairy types. Yeah, you lose against fairy types. It's hard. Clefable, Iron Valiant, Hatchrin. Hatchrin you can kill Kowtow, so I guess that's okay. Overall, Terra Fighting is amazing. Terra Fighting, Terra Fairy are the best. Honestly, all these Kingambits are amazing, but I think these two are my favorites. Terra Fire, Air Balloon. This is run for the counter. What you call? To counter Kyurem, right? Usually we run Air Balloon just to be so you won't get hit by Kyurem's stabs. Not even stabs. Kyurem's coverage, which is EP, right? You bring him in. Kyurem, you can Sword Dance for free against the Kyurem, and then from there you just sweep, right? So overall, amazing Pokemon with Air Balloon. Do we really need to talk about that? And what? Terrifier, I run Terrifier on the Air Balloon sets because if you're fighting a Moltres or a Dragapult, they'll usually go for a Wisp, and you just Terrifier, and then it's over. The game's usually over at that point. You can't really beat Kingambit from that point. It's bulky, so it can live any attack from whatever comes out. So, If you want to know the details, that is the details of why we run the set. And my favorite set of all time is the dark on dark black glasses. Bro, this set is, oh, if you don't fight as Zamazenta, oh, this set destroys teams. It's actually insane. You guys want to see a replay? Like, I was playing this guy, Mike M520. He's actually in OU Room Live Tour. He was also in the room from Live Tour. He placed top 4. I placed top 8. You know, I lost, so I didn't record it, but I didn't want to really record it, so we can see this game. Look at, okay, so basically I brought Sun with the Kingambit. The reason why I brought Kingambit onto this team is because I wanted to run a stall breaker. Because this team just loses a stall if I run into stall, right? So let's just get into the most important turns. He basically outplays me the entire game. Let's see, right? Just like look at it, like it's looking kind of bad out here, you know. Like look at this. I use a healing wish. We're down 4 mons. We're down 3, right? Who do I bring in? I bring in Blocking Awake. I go Roaring Moon. He gets all these hazards up. It's basically what? It's a 5v3. I still have Kingambit 100%, don't get me wrong. I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, this is Terra Dark Kingambit. I can Storage Dance on Toxapex and Treads for free. Even maybe Gliscor, right? But, and this is, in my head, this is the only opportunity to Storage Dance up because all these mons are pretty threatening to Kingambit. So I'm like, okay, fuck it, we're going all in. We're really about to go all in. So what I do is I Storage Dance up Terra, right? Right? Yep. I misplayed here. I was expecting him to expect me to go for Sucker Punch, so I went for Kowtow. That's a little bad because now it's like, oh, it's a 50-50 in every time. If he gets the turns right, then he wins. I'm thinking, I'm like, yo, like realistically, I'm pretty sure Kingambit kills everything with Sucker Punch here. So I go for Sucker Punch because I know this class was probably faster, right? He goes Corv. If this is Rocky Helmet, I'm pretty sure I knocked off anything, so it's not even. Kingambit comes in, bro, this thing gets code, right? You're like, okay, he brings in Darkrai. Darkrai's a resist. Of course, your Terra Dark black glasses. I'm thinking, I'm like, yo, theoretically, I don't have my damage calculator in my hand. I'm actually playing on my phone. I'm like, yo, this is killing. Yo, this should kill the 100%, kill the Darkrai. You know, and you know, at this point, bro, this mon is unfair. Like, I really reverse swept him. Overall, this Pokemon is just an amazing damage output. Overall, one of the best sets out there. I think this set is more of a niche. If you have a team that's weak against Kyurem, you can run this. Overall, the best sets you can get are Terra Dark, Black Glasses. This set, also this set, and maybe even this set. But I think this is the rightful best Pokemon in the OU Gen 9 OU. I know you guys don't need to tell me. You guys don't need me to tell you this, but you know, overall, we can kind of come to that claim that this mod is the best. But yeah, I know it's a long video. I wanted to just give you guys a breakdown of what is my opinion about the best 4 or even the best honorable mention of both, right? So overall, hope you guys liked the video. If you're new, subscribe because you know I don't do this shit just for entertainment. I do it for everybody out there. So I really appreciate that, you guys. I see you guys, the new people who watch my channel. If you guys like these videos, comment, sub, you know, comments of course, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.